speaking of looking ahead to the future, even thinking about this just seems wrong, and I think it's something that Tommy Conlon points out as well. Paul Rowan's writing about it in Sunday Times, but Conlon's piece is a more wry look, let's say, at Ireland.
Very enjoyable.
Potentially hosting the 2030, at least in part, World Cup. There is, as Tommy points out, something just bizarre about trying to think ahead to something as remote as 2030. There has to be some degree of forethought in human affairs, both great and small, but drawing up plans for 2030 seems to reek of hubris in the face of all those manifold uncertainties which daily assail our petrified grip on this orphan ball of rock we call Earth. It gets to a stage where one is almost reluctant to do a week shopping in advance for fear of taking things for granted unduly. Like, that's the thing, when this feasibility study line came in, and literally it was just 2 lines from the FAI during the week, saying that they were looking into the possibility of holding talks about maybe seeing if they can possibly host part of the 2030 World Cup. Everybody's eyes rolled because they went, the FAI, the World Cup. There's absolutely no chance that's going to happen. And the more you read about it, the more you kind of go, yeah, I kind of see how this might happen. This is not beyond the realms of possibility. But yeah, Tommy's having a bit of a look at this one, and the role that Sepp Blatter seemingly has played in this one as well, Philip.
It's great, that line about the week shopping. We're looking to do week shopping in advance. Brilliant. But he kind of details Sepp's part in it all. And I think there's a quote here.
Yeah, Blatter is 82, but no doubt already thinking about the 7-star hotel suite that will pamper his aged arse when he fetches up for the opening ceremony at the age of 94. At this point, and this point only, we must concede to him a grudging measure of respect for his optimism, albeit the consummate geronocrats such as he are sustained by enormous quantities of self-delusion in the first place. He probably thinks he's going to live forever. And you know what? I wouldn't put it past him.
He will definitely be there at age 94, wherever it is.
100%.
South America,
it sounds like
Dublin.
It sounds like his idea, you know. So it says he publicly floated the idea. So he says they talking about England and the World Cup. They had it in 1966, a long time ago. I spoke with one of your colleagues. He said if Wales and Scotland joined together, and I said, why not Ireland?
Brilliant. All
of Ireland together. So he already sees us in a unified Ireland at that stage, which is probably going to happen after Brexit anyway.
John Delaney's ears pricked up at that stage.
So basically Sepp has put us as part of the World Cup. Fair play to him.
I think that's probably coming from maybe a lack of knowledge on the political situation, but like as you said,
stopped him before.
Yeah, as you said, like 2030, like you'd imagine, will Scotland have its independence? Will we be united Ireland? There'll be a much different, I think.
Brexit means Brexit, Sinead.
Yeah.
Well, we know.
Yeah. That's at a time where, you know, England are obviously in negotiations to try and divorce themselves from us. Here we are in the sporting thing. We're all in this together. And it's interesting as well, the list of stadia listed underneath.
I'm excited now after reading this. Colin
Young goes through, and Croke Park is there, the Aviva, Windsor Park is there, but
Windsor Park won't be able to host anything.
No.
So
I think the GA will be rubbing their hands at this one, because Casement Park has obviously been sitting idle, and if this happens, then money has to come from somewhere to make sure that Casement Park can actually hold 50,000 people.
Yeah, and this week is the Lee Miller.
Yeah.
So given mentioned Sporting Stadia and Ireland joining the dots, with Sepp and co, given the fuss over Lee Miller, so I think, is it Colin Young or Paul Rowan, somebody floated the idea of Porky Queeve.
It's in there, yeah.
I think why people are, like you said, Richie, are kind of going, maybe. Obviously, we got burnt with the rugby bid, and people felt
big time,
yeah, understatement, Sinead. But people,
where next to go? You've lost a middleweight fight. Where do you want to go next? We'll go for a heavyweight one.
Yeah, but I think people are like, the embarrassment will be England's if this doesn't happen.
They're doing all the heavy lifting, and we can just distance ourselves.
Yeah, we can just go. Yeah, you
is
can.
That part
it's
of the motivation then for Ireland to get behind it.
You can borrow Croke Park, you can borrow the Aviva, and you can build us Casement Park there. And then if it doesn't work out, God, the English got it wrong again.
The idea, it's just, the more you read about it, it doesn't seem like, when you see quotes from Alexander Cheferin, who's the head of UEFA, basically pointing out that if there is going to be a bid from United Islands, essentially, of like England, Scotland, Wales and the Ireland, that he wouldn't want basically infighting in UEFA. So this would have the green light of UEFA to go forward as its bid, and that would follow on from a similar scenario where everybody kind of agreed that US, Canada and Mexico would be together for 2026, and that there'd be no real challenge to that one, but Morocco put their hands up. We're like, we want to have a go. They were never going to be in the running for it, and the US, or sorry, North American bid won handsomely. This seems to be going up against the fact that by the time 2030 comes around, 2022 will have been in Qatar. 26 will have been in the Americas. So it would have been time for a European
it's Europe turn. It's Europe's turn again because it was 2018.
See, before you think about it, you're like, this is...
But then it is also South America's turn. It's the 100 years since Uruguay held it first. They have their joint bid, so they have, the 3-country bid as well. So I think that's probably...
What's romance got to do with it?
Biggest rival. Oh, yeah.
We're getting the World Cup in 2030.
Yeah. The headline on Paul Rowan's piece is British and Irish World Cup bid is realistic. So, like, Paul is he's documenting how this might actually not be a crazy idea, which is scary in itself.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah, well, they say England are capable of doing it by themselves. And
of course they bleeding are, yeah.
Yeah, so, and they're, hitching the rest of us on to make it more attractive.
I missed Sean Kelly's line. Do you see that, Sinead? The suggestion by MEP Sean Kelly, the Croke Park would make a better venue for the final than Wembley.
He's dead right, Sean. You're dead right.
UEFA General Secretary John Delaney in 2030 might be in a position to make that happen. You never know. But the Casement Park issue is raised in both pieces and in Colin Young's as well. You don't know if a successful World Cup bid would speed up that process. I know Northern Ireland probably needs a government first before it gets another stadium. It's probably their main concern at the moment. It's dilapidated and closed since 2013 and is essentially an overgrown meadow surrounded by crumbling old terracing, writes Paul in the Sunday Times. Like, the impetus to get that done would be huge, but then again, yeah, all the South American bid would have to do is hold up a picture of Casement Park and go, look, they promised this for 2023. There still hasn't been a spade in the ground. They haven't even weeded the gaff. Why should they
and
get
they don't have a
here?
government. Hopefully we'll have a government up there at some point.
So maybe the World Cup will solve all of Ireland's issues.
Yeah. You have to get your act together because we have to have Northern Ireland in on this bid.
Unified Ireland issues,
What a
Brexit issues.
Fantastic idea. It's fantastic. I like the idea of this.